We must move on.
For the queen!
You have my bow.
Quiver and quake
Hunting season begins.
like a rolling
Salure
stone.
Denuri.
For Oradell!
Swords ready!
Calm and careful.
If it bleeds, I can kill it.
You have my bow.
Give me a target. Calm and careful.
Salure Denuri.
Swift like wind.
For Oradell!
Incoming!
You have my bow.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow.
Swords ready!
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
Our aim.
Reinforce!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
If it bleeds, I can kill it.
You have my bow.
Incoming!
Calm and careful.
Salure Denuri.
Let's rock and roll.
Swords ready!
Swift like wind.
Reinforce!
For Oradell! Swift and steady.
If it bleeds, I can kill it.
Give me a target.
Incoming!
And our Evelyn. By the light of the moon! To the vanguard!
Swords ready!
For the queen! Hunting season begins.
Reinforce!
Trust our aim.
We must move on. You have my bow.
Incoming!
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Swords
For
ready!
Oradell! Another target.
We must move on. Salure Denuri. We must move on.
Swift and steady.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
Swords
We must
ready.
move on.
Eda Evelyn.
You have my bow.
Hunting season begins.
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
Trust our aim.
You have my bow.
For Oradell!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell! Swift and steady.
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Eda Evelyn.
We must move on.
Another day.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
Light of the moon!
We must move on.
Swords
Salure
ready.
Denuri.
To the vanguard!
Hunting season begins.
We must move on.
Trust our aim. Swift and steady.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow.
Healer!
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell! Eda Evelyn.
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Swords
For
ready.
Oradell! Hunting season begins.
We must move on. Salure Denuri.
Trust our aim. For Oradell!
We must move on.
Swift and steady.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
Eda Evelyn.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
You have my bow.
Quiver
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Ready! Reinforce!
Oradell!
Incoming!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Sweet dreams are made of this.
For Oradell!
Swords ready!
We must move on.
Sweet dreams are made of
You
this.
have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Hunting season begins.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
Time for target practice.
You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
Blackbird fly! Blackbird fly! Blackbird fly!
Sweet dreams are made of this. Sweet dreams are made of this.
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
Oradell!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow.
By the light of the moon!
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
Red sun
Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow.
For Oradell!
We must move on.
To the vanguard! For the queen! By the light of the moon!
You have my bow.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow. Salure Denuri.
For Oradell!
You have my bow. Salure Denuri. We must move on. You have my bow.
To the vanguard!
For Oradell!
We must move on. You have my bow.
Swords ready!
Salure Denuri.